It was my husband's law school reunion. He drank too much, so I went to pick him up. I pushed open the door to the private room, and the noise inside instantly died down. Sorry to interrupt, everyone, I said with a polite smile. I'm just here to pick up my husband. A room full of impeccably dressed, top-tier lawyers turned to stare at me. The man sitting at the head of the table, my ex-husband, kept his head down, drumming his fingers thoughtfully on the table. Chloe, someone finally broke the silence. This is a reunion for graduates from top 10 law schools. What's a community college girl like you doing here? A wave of laughter erupted. Isn't that the girl from the Chloeism incident? To impress her, top-of-the-class Liam changed every instance of materialism on his bar exam essay to Chloeism. The professor was so mad he sent out a campus-wide email about it. I heard you clawed your way into the Thompson family, forced him to marry you. Otherwise, why would a guy like him marry a bimbo like you? Liam's wife now is a finance whiz, a real heiress. That's a power couple. How do you even have the nerve to show your face? Their words were like bullets. No one knew that Liam used to be the class troublemaker, at the bottom of the academic ladder. He fought tooth and nail to become number one, all for me. But that was all in the past. It didn't matter anymore. I just smiled, my face calm. I'm not here to crash your prestigious reunion. I'm here to take my husband home. Liam, who had been silent until now, finally spoke. Chloe, we've been divorced for 4 years. I smiled and nodded. I know. That's why I didn't say I was here to pick you up, Liam. Why is she so clingy? They're divorced, and she's still haunting him. A few sneers echoed through the room. Ryan, a childhood friend, stared at me, scoffing. Like a piece of gum on his shoe. It's been years, and she's still stuck. Ryan, Liam, and I used to be inseparable, the three musketeers. He used to be the second nicest person to me in the world, but when I caught Liam in bed with my stepsister, Jessica, Ryan had stood in front of her, protecting her. Because he was in love with her too. And he had been helping Liam hide their affair the whole time. I was the only one who was a complete idiot, kept in the dark from the very beginning. Ryan, that's enough, Liam said, his voice laced with the cool composure of a seasoned lawyer, but Ryan wasn't having it. What's wrong with saying it? They're both from the same family. The fake heiress can't compare to the real one. Jessica is so much better than her. Only you would have ever fallen for a bimbo like her. What a waste of your time. Liam met my gaze, his voice soft but firm. Chloe is very smart. Coming from a genius like Liam, it sounded like a joke, but 18-year-old me would have believed him without a doubt. Liam and I were childhood sweethearts. Our families, whether for business or genuine affection, had arranged our marriage long ago. But in our senior year of high school, Jessica was found. She was sweet, obedient, and a certified genius. My dad used to complain, how could a smart man like me have such a dumb daughter? My mom would always smooth things over. But she and Liam get along so well. They're two peas in a pod. But the day Jessica came home, I saw a look of pure pride in my father's eyes for the first time, and my mother stopped mentioning my name and Liam's in the same sentence. They insisted they loved us both equally, but their favoritism was obvious. Jessica bullied me relentlessly. She'd pour buckets of ice water over my head in the school bathroom, leave spiders and cockroaches in my bed. My parents would just tell us to get along, and I would swallow my pride. It wasn't until they tried to give my engagement to Liam to Jessica that he finally put his foot down. He brought me, soaking wet and shivering, in front of our parents and stood in front of me, declaring, I'm marrying Chloe, not just a member of your family. It has to be her. His father, furious and unable to change his mind, kicked him out of the house. I was frantic, but Liam just held me. I'm smart, Chloe. I'll study hard, and I'll take care of you. For the last 6 months of high school, he studied like a man possessed, sleeping only a few hours a night. The dark circles under his eyes broke my heart. You don't even like studying, I said. You don't have to do this. He would look at me, his eyes shining, and rest his head on my shoulder. I have to get into a top university, become a great lawyer, so I can give you a stable life. Maybe one day, even your dad will have to come begging to me. I saw the tips of his ears turn red and nodded fiercely. I can't drag him down. But studying was a matter of talent. While Liam shot from the bottom of the class to the top, I remained stubbornly average. He would look at my report card and shake his head. Chloe, you really are a little bimbo. But you're a cute little bimbo. And I like it that way. As long as I'm smart, that's all that matters. I would watch him scribbling away under the warm lamplight, a feeling of warmth spreading through me as I drifted off to sleep. Liam, I'd mumble, wait for me. Just before I fell completely asleep, I saw him nod. I smiled in my sleep. I never had to chase him. He would always wait for me. He didn't. Later, he would grow to hate my bimbo ways, find them utterly repulsive. Not smart? You spent all that time tutoring her, and she still only got into a community college. Ryan deliberately pulled a thick case file from his briefcase and waved it in my face. I scanned the room, but I didn't see my husband, Julian. Julian? Liam Sr. from law school, a legend in the legal world. I couldn't find him anywhere. He wasn't answering his phone or my texts. I started to worry. I decided to go outside and see if any of his friends knew where he was. Excuse me, I said, turning to leave. But as I stepped out of the room, a hand grabbed my wrist. Chloe, are you still mad? Liam's soft Chloe used to make my ears burn, but now it just grated on me. We're not close, I said, trying to pull away. But another figure stepped in front of me. Sister? You're back? I thought you'd never set foot in the city again. Jessica stood there, her arms crossed, her head held high like a proud swan. In the past, I would have swallowed my pride for the sake of my parents and Liam, avoided any conflict. My avoidance was a mask for my deep-seated insecurity. But now, that was all in the past. I didn't even bother to look at her. Sister, come home. Mom and Dad miss you. And your birth mother misses you too. They're your parents. A person like me doesn't have parents. After Jessica came back, I had found the nanny who had switched us at birth. I had hoped, naively, that if my adoptive parents could accept Jessica so easily, maybe my real mother would too. But the look of disgust in her eyes was like a douse of cold water. I only have one daughter. Jessica is so brilliant, I raised her. You're useless. You lived with them for almost 20 years, and the second she came back, you were nothing. What would I want with a daughter like you? Her words had severed any lingering hope I had. Miss Davis, about the project tomorrow. Jessica's assistant appeared out of nowhere. She took the pen and signed her name with a flourish. It's just a small project, a few million. You can handle it. You don't need to ask me. The assistant nodded obsequiously and scurried away. I froze. That pen, it was the one Liam had used for his bar exam. After he passed with the highest score in the state, he had given it to me, wishing me success in everything I did. Ryan was right. I really was a bimbo. Even with Liam's dedicated tutoring, I had only managed to get into a community college. But at least we were in the same city. We couldn't see each other all the time, but we were happy. Liam was a big shot on campus, handsome and smart. But he always made me feel secure. He would walk me around campus, holding my hand, making sure everyone knew I was his. When someone confessed their feelings for him on the campus forum, he replied with a picture of us kissing. But soon, the whispers started. The campus forums were filled with insults. The useless fake heiress with nothing but a pretty face, how could she be with a genius like Liam? Liam got into a screaming match on the forum, but it didn't help. So, on his final bar exam essay, where lawyers are supposed to be objective and evidence-based, he changed every instance of materialism to Chloeism. He was publicly reprimanded by the professor, and the story became a campus legend. Liam wanted the whole world to know I was his girlfriend. But when we got married, he said, Chloe, let's keep it a secret. Just wait a few more years. When I'm successful, I'll give you a grand wedding. I agreed. For years into our marriage, Liam became the youngest partner at his prestigious law firm. But I never got that grand wedding. I got his infidelity instead. On our 4th wedding anniversary, Liam threw a massive fit. Because I had lost the pen he gave me after his bar exam. Chloe, that pen was supposed to bring you good luck. You're already a bimbo, what are you going to do without it? Do you really expect me to take care of you for the rest of your life? He stormed out, slamming the door. It was the first time he had ever spoken to me so harshly. It was pouring rain outside, but I ignored my raging fever and went out to look for it. I remembered we had recently visited the small apartment we had rented in high school. Liam had bought the place later. It held memories of the last 6 months of our senior year, of me crying with joy in his arms after he passed his exams, of our first time together. But I never expected to find us. In the bedroom, memory and reality collided. Liam was on top of someone. When Jessica looked up and our eyes met, I felt like I had been plunged into an icy abyss. To prove his loyalty to me, Liam hadn't spoken a word to Jessica since she came back to our family. But they were both lawyers. In a high-profile case, they ended up as opposing counsel. They were fierce rivals in the courtroom. Liam was furious. He would pace around the living room every night, cursing her name. She's a manipulative liar. A woman defending a scumbag like that, she can't be a good person. But as they continued to cross paths, he started to see her strengths. She was a brilliant lawyer, quick-witted and sharp. And that's when he started to think I was stupid. We went from talking about everything to sitting in silence. I tried to find common ground, even started studying law on my own. When I asked him for help, all I got was a sigh. Can you just not ask? The law is complicated. You wouldn't understand even if I explained it. Chloe, why are you so slow, became his catchphrase. I would stare at the dense legal texts, swallowing my hurt. I was even genuinely happy for him when Jessica joined his law firm. He had a capable partner. When I saw her, Jessica slowly got off of Liam, pulling the pen from her coat pocket and twirling it in her fingers. I was consumed by guilt, frantically searching for something I thought I had lost. It wasn't lost. Liam had given it to someone else. She leisurely put on her clothes, a taunting smile on her face. Are you surprised? Your house, his law firm, his parents' house, your parents' house, we've done it everywhere. Today, we just wanted to try the place where you two had your first time. I felt like I was being dragged to the bottom of the ocean, unable to move. A wave of rage washed over me. I grabbed the vase from the nightstand and threw it at them, but Liam shielded Jessica with his own body. Blood streamed down his forehead, but he ignored it, standing in front of her and roaring, Chloe, are you insane? The man who had promised to be my whole world was now standing on the other side. I stood there, frozen, unable to process what was happening. Until Ryan burst in, a frown on his face. You two go. I'll handle this lunatic. Lunatic? I laughed, a broken, hollow sound. Just yesterday, Ryan had been helping me study for my own law school entrance exams, so I could catch up to Liam. Everyone I loved had turned against me. Liam brought Jessica home to his parents, shamelessly. When I demanded a divorce, all I could do was snarl, no. You want to marry her? In your dreams. At that moment, the marriage certificate felt like the only card I had left to play. But I never expected Liam to be even more ruthless than I was. His family and mine joined forces, painting me as an ungrateful, spoiled brat who was clinging to the marriage for status. Ryan gave interviews, confirming their story. Even my own birth mother came forward to testify against me. Overnight, I became the town gossip. The story was that I had tricked Liam into bed, and as a man from a prominent family, he had no choice but to marry me to save face. But the final blow came from Liam himself. I was hiding in my small apartment, afraid to go out, when Jessica showed up. I confessed to Liam the first day I met him, she said nonchalantly. But he turned me down. He said he wasn't good enough for me. That if I was willing, I could wait a few years for him. Wait until he could stand beside her as an equal. Chloe, you've lost completely. With that, she left. That night, I agreed to the divorce. As I was signing the papers, I thought back to the past, to the ambitious young Liam who had promised to give me a better life. But now, there was no Chloe in his future. What was I to you? I couldn't help but ask. Just a placeholder? Just a comfort blanket until you found the one you really loved? Liam's hand froze. After a long moment, a few broken words escaped his throat. I really did love you. I held back my tears. Love is a beautiful thing, but it's also fickle. During the mandatory waiting period for the divorce, I was a prisoner in my own home. Going out meant facing insults, harassment, and even physical assault. I started to clear out the apartment, erasing every trace of Liam. The bed he slept in, the mug he used, the clothes he wore. At first, I cried constantly, drinking myself into a stupor every night. But gradually, the drinking became less frequent. The last time I got drunk was on the day of Liam and Jessica's wedding, a union of two powerful families, the talk of the town. 29-year-old Chloe was not the same naive bimbo she was at 18. The things that 18-year-old Chloe had clung to so tightly, 29-year-old Chloe didn't care about so much anymore. Liam's brow furrowed, his voice hoarse. Chloe, you've changed. You're not the same as you used to be. His words pulled me back to the present. I laughed, a sarcastic sound. You can't live in the past, can you? Seeing the look on his face, Jessica's mask of civility finally slipped, a flash of jealousy in her eyes. If you're not living in the past, then why are you crashing this reunion, still chasing after Liam? And making up some ridiculous lie about picking up your husband? I had no desire to get into it with them. I just turned and walked away. But as I took a step, a loud, booming voice called out. Honey, you're finally here. My phone died, my brother was about to tear this place apart looking for you. Leo came running up, panting slightly, and grabbed my wrist. Chloe, come quick. My brother is losing his mind. I was taken aback for a second. Liam stepped in front of Leo, his face dark. You're really married? To who? I didn't have the energy to explain. Just then, I heard a familiar set of footsteps. The next second, my hand was enveloped in his, our fingers interlacing. Julian and I exchanged a knowing smile. But when Julian turned to Liam, his expression turned icy. Who are you? Do I need to report to you when I marry my wife? I'm her ex-husband. I kept my face perfectly neutral, but when I turned to Julian, I added a touch of playful scolding to my voice. You asked me to pick you up, and then you don't answer your phone or reply to my texts. I was about to send out a search party. Compared to Liam, Julian clearly cared more about my well-being. Julian shot his brother a sharp glare. Leo sheepishly stuck his tongue out and scratched his head. I just really wanted to see Chloe. I finally get back to the States, and I accidentally sent you the wrong room number. Julian chuckled helplessly. You've been like this for years, always so reckless. If it weren't for Chloe, you probably wouldn't have even found your passport to study abroad. Seeing Julian soften, Leo grinned. My brother and sister-in-law are the best. By the way, Chloe, I came all this way just for one of your cakes. When are you going to make me one? Seeing the three of us chatting so happily, Liam's face completely clouded over. Jessica, sensing the tension, crossed her arms and spoke with a venomous sweetness. Well, if it isn't. Julian? The great Julian? Did you know your wife has been married before? Julian's grip on my hand tightened. Of course. It's not illegal. Jessica kept sizing us up, a malicious smirk on her face. So, my dear sister, you have a new husband, and you haven't even brought him home to meet mom and dad. Or is it, she paused deliberately, that you're too embarrassed? After all, if he met Liam's parents, they might bring up how you begged like a dog, refusing to sign the divorce papers. I frowned. I only refused to divorce him back then to piss you off. That's it. Julian just cast a cool glance at Liam, his smile polite but distant. Why talk about irrelevant people? You. Jessica pointed a trembling finger at us, furious, but Liam grabbed her arm and dragged her away. Jessica was livid. She dug her heels in and started screaming at him. Are you still thinking about her? Let me tell you, even if you want to go back to her, your parents will never allow it. Julian and I both frowned at the same time. He gently covered my ears, his voice soft. Let's go, honey. When we got to the car, Julian opened the trunk. Row upon row of brand new paints greeted my eyes. All limited editions. Do you like them? Leo chimed in from the side, complaining. My brother made me hunt these down overseas. You have no idea, for weeks, our only conversations were about paint, paint, paint. I patted Leo on the shoulder. Thanks, kiddo. Let's go home, I'll bake you that cake as a reward. You're the best, Chloe. Leo threw his hands up in excitement. Then, glancing at Julian, he meekly added, and Julian is the best too. After I found out about Liam's affair, I decided to stop blindly chasing after a career in law that I wasn't suited for. Instead, I found peace in something I was actually good at, painting. In the small apartment I used to share with Liam, I painted canvas after canvas. That's when I realized that when a person does what they're good at, they're not a bimbo at all. Within 6 months, I was making a living doing custom decorative paintings. Julian was my very first client. We both loved Impressionism. He commissioned painting after painting, and the more we talked, the more we clicked. After his 98th commission, we finally met in person. After his 146th commission, we started dating. Once, when I was doing a deep clean, I was about to throw away a bunch of my practice paintings. But Julian insisted on keeping them all. These are part of your journey. Let's keep them. Even though the paintings were unpolished, the raw emotion, the anger, the defiance, was palpable to anyone who looked at them. I never told Julian about Liam. Because the past was in the past. But today, when we got home and I saw those paintings again, I couldn't help but ask. Julian, why have you never asked me about Liam? He chuckled. I didn't need to ask. We run in the same circles. You hear gossip. Besides. He paused deliberately, leaning in and lowering his voice. I witnessed it firsthand. Wow. Top-tier lawyer investigative skills at work. Julian laughed softly and told me a story I had never heard before. Remember how you used to visit Liam at the law school all the time? Your relationship was the biggest gossip on the campus forums. One day, I was curious to see who this legendary girl was. I found you sitting on a bench, sketching the ginkgo trees. Julian pulled me into his arms, resting his chin gently on the top of my head. Even though your technique wasn't perfect back then, I could tell immediately that you had a gift. He looked down at me, his eyes filled with adoration and respect. My wife is incredible. I knew at the moment I saw her. He said things like that all the time since we got married. And every time, I still blushed furiously. This time was no exception. So, those years I was in love with Liam, you were in love with me. Julian let out a long sigh. What else could I do? I couldn't exactly steal another guy's girl. What would you have thought of me? My eyes prickled with tears. Since we got married, even if I burned a meal, Julian would find a reason to compliment it, like praising the way I chopped the vegetables. Wow, my wife is amazing. With him, I realized that Chloe wasn't stupid. She had just been trying to fit into the wrong mold. I've hated sweets since I was a kid. To help my brother win you over, I had to order so many cakes under my name, and he wouldn't let me waste them. All my gym time went down the drain. Leo pouted dramatically, making both Julian and me laugh out loud. I loved painting and baking. Once I had a steady stream of painting clients, I started taking baking classes. My first few cakes were honestly terrible, but I had one very loyal client who helped me get through the toughest part. Years later, the mystery was finally solved. I wrapped my arms tightly around Julian's waist. Thank you for finding me. Later that night, as I lay curled up in his arms, tracing circles on his chest, he finally asked the question he'd been holding back. Chloe, between me and Liam, who did you really love? I looked up at his slightly anxious face and poked him gently between the eyebrows. Only you. Who am I? Julian's hands started to wander. I responded eagerly, my eyes hazy with desire. Julian. Wrong. I'm your husband. The temperature in the room was rising rapidly, but a sharp ringing shattered the mood. Julian reached over and answered the phone, his voice laced with sleepiness. Who is this? There was silence on the other end. That's when I realized it was my phone. Where is Chloe? It was Liam. Julian looked at me, a low chuckle escaping him. She's tired. She fell asleep. He hung up immediately. Seeing the slight frown on his face, I decided to tease him. I thought you were going to make some kind of noise. Don't a lot of divorce lawyers have clients who pull that kind of stunt? Or did you want me to take the lead? Julian's face flushed crimson. He coughed awkwardly. I would never. He sighed heavily, a possessive glint in his eyes. Your voice, everything about you, I don't want anyone else to see or hear it. I want you all to myself. I pinched his cheek playfully. I couldn't help but think of the past. Liam used to be like that, too. Whenever an upperclassman tried to hit on me, Liam would pull me close. Sorry, she's mine. Those moments used to make me feel so cherished. But two men with the same possessive streak could be so vastly different. Julian was truly wonderful. After that day, life settled back into its comfortable routine. The only difference was that Liam kept trying to add me on various messaging apps. I declined every single one. Until he showed up uninvited at my studio. I didn't know you were such an incredible artist. The voice, familiar yet distant, came from behind me. I turned around. For the first time ever, I saw genuine awe in Liam's eyes. His entrance had drawn the attention of several people in the studio. Impeccably dressed, polite, and undeniably handsome. Someone nudged me. Wow, Chloe, you've got some serious charm. This guy gives your husband a run for his money. I pouted. No way. No one compares to my husband. I ignored Liam, but he marched right up to the front desk and booked out my entire schedule for the foreseeable future. Faced with a paying client, I reluctantly sat down with him. You've changed so much. But then again, you haven't. I remember you used to sketch and doodle all the time in college. I just never realized you were this good. Liam smiled, a bitter, wistful expression. There's a lot you didn't know about me. My response was stiff and cold. Mr. Davis, please tell me what kind of painting you're looking for. Other than that, I don't think we have anything to discuss. Liam froze. He struggled to get the words out. Chloe, you never used to be like this. That was then. This is now. Chasing after you was exhausting. I'm happy now. Let's not talk about the past. Liam fidgeted nervously, his mouth twisting in a bitter grimace. When I saw you the other day, you were so confident. The way you looked with paint smudged on your face, it was captivating. I don't know if it's because of him. Julian's smiling face flashed in my mind. Liam was right. With Julian, I was relaxed. I was comfortable in my own skin, and that confidence was naturally attractive. But with Liam, I had always been chasing, always feeling inadequate and insecure. Maybe the best partner is the one who helps you become a better version of yourself. But I was in no mood to reminisce with Liam. I firmly steered the conversation back to the commission, trying to keep things strictly professional. But Liam's voice suddenly choked with emotion. Annoyance flared within me. I lost my patience. Mr. Davis, what exactly do you want? Liam let out a long breath. After a long silence, he carefully chose his words. These past few years, I've never forgotten you. I'd think about the late-night snacks you'd make me when I was poring over case files. I'd think about how you'd rack your brain for terrible jokes just to cheer me up when I was stressed. Honestly, hearing this now, I felt absolutely nothing. It felt like someone else's life, someone else's memories. My eye even started twitching in annoyance. Just as I was about to lose the last shred of my patience, Liam finally stated his true purpose. Chloe, I want to ask, is there still a chance for us? Before I could answer, a tremendous force hit him, followed by a muffled groan from Liam. By the time I realized what was happening, my hands were covered in blood. Liam's blood. Liam, is this what you meant by meeting a client? Jessica stood there, clutching the jagged neck of a broken bottle, livid with rage. Liam staggered to his feet and stood in front of me, shielding me. But Jessica wasn't finished. She lunged, trying to grab me, but Liam slapped her hand away hard. Haven't you embarrassed yourself enough? I froze. He had said those exact words to me once. I cast a cold glance at Jessica. Did I look that pathetic back then? I shook my head, a bitter smile on my lips. I had absolutely no interest in watching dogs fight. While they were glaring at each other, I turned to leave. But Liam grabbed my wrist. I brushed his hand off, frowning. Don't do that. My husband will get the wrong idea. It was a simple statement of fact, but to Liam, it sounded like a death sentence. Chloe, Jessica glared at me, tears streaming down her face. She looked like a wreck. Are you happy now? You've manipulated Liam right back to you. I bet Mom and Dad are thrilled. Do you hate me that much? Do you hate me for taking everything that was yours, so you're doing this to get back at me? I stared at Jessica. Then, I let out a soft laugh. From the moment she returned to the family, I had endured everything. But today, I was done enduring. I rolled up my sleeves and slowly walked toward her. I raised my hand and slapped her hard across the face. She tried to hit me back, but I quickly kicked the back of her knee. Her legs gave out, and she collapsed to the floor. What do I have to be happy about? Yes, Liam used to swear he only wanted me. But then you two pushed me into a corner until I had nothing left. What exactly am I supposed to be happy about? And as for your parents? I cracked my knuckles. I couldn't care less. Jessica scrambled to get up and attack me, but Liam stepped in front of her. She stared at him in disbelief, screaming, "Are you insane? Liam, I'm your wife. And you're protecting her?" Liam glanced at me, then rubbed his temples in frustration. Jessica, we owe this to Chloe. This sudden realization was too little, too late. It was all an act. It was truly sickening. Every second I spent with them felt like torture. I was about to go find a security guard to throw them out when a familiar, warm scent of white sandalwood enveloped me. Julian's face had been dark with anger, but the moment he saw the blood on my hands, everything else vanished. What happened? Before I could answer, he scooped me up in his arms and started running toward the hospital. I gently tugged on his shirt. It's not my blood. He paused. I gestured with my eyes toward the commotion behind us. He finally saw Jessica and Liam. In an instant, the gentle, loving Julian vanished, replaced by the ruthless, commanding Julian from the courtroom. He walked over with calm confidence, rolling up his sleeves, and looked down at them. You are both legal professionals. I trust you know the implications of your actions. If you know what's good for you, you'll leave right now. Otherwise, I look forward to seeing you both in the defendant's seat. You know exactly what I'm capable of. My eyes were glued to Julian. I couldn't help but smile. My Julian was incredible. Julian had an almost flawless track record in the legal world. As the security guards approached, Liam, however reluctantly, had no choice but to drag Jessica away in disgrace. After that day, I blocked the 98th phone number Liam had used to try and contact me. Every single one of his messages was a melodramatic, emotionally manipulative essay. I shared every single one with Julian. He would read them and shake his head. No wonder his legal briefs are so poorly written. He just repeats the same 3 points over and over. I looked at Julian and kissed him on the cheek. Exactly. No one is as brilliant as my Julian. Julian had just won another incredibly difficult case. The moment he stepped out of the courthouse, he was swarmed by reporters. He answered their questions with calm, articulate precision, undaunted by the flashing cameras. As he gestured, the wedding band on his finger caught the light, sparkling brilliantly. I was leaning against our car, getting ready to take a picture of him, when I saw Liam. Right, I remembered. He was the opposing counsel on this case. The once arrogant, brilliant lawyer was a shadow of his former self. His cheeks were hollow, his eyes underscored by dark, heavy bags. The only time a spark of life appeared in his eyes was when he looked at me. I took a step back, keeping my distance, and studied him. Liam looked deeply wounded. After a long silence, he managed to choke out a few broken words. Jessica and I got a divorce. Facing him now, I honestly didn't know what to say. I genuinely didn't care about his life anymore. It wasn't because of you. He forced a bitter smile. It was because I finally realized. Jessica could never compare to you. I didn't even look at him. I just smiled as I watched Julian, gently resting my hand on my stomach. My voice was calm and soft. Liam, I'm pregnant. Please, don't ever bother me again. If the stress hurts the baby, I don't even want to know what Julian would do. Liam froze, staring at me in stunned silence. It wasn't until Julian finished his interviews and started walking toward us that Liam seemed to wake from a trance. He practically fled the scene. He left only one sentence behind. Okay. I'm sorry. It was my first pregnancy, and Julian was a nervous wreck. He moved his entire office to our house, insisted his mother chaperone me if he absolutely had to meet a client, and strictly forbade me from going to the studio. Until the doorbell rang one afternoon. I opened the door. It was Mr. and Mrs. Thompson, my adoptive parents, and my biological mother. We came to see you. We heard you're expecting? Family should. Mr. Thompson started awkwardly. I stood firmly in the doorway, making no move to invite them in. He quickly realized where he stood. He looked exactly like Liam had the last time I saw him. Lost, confused, and drowning in regret. From inside the house, my mother-in-law called out, "Chloe, come have some soup. It's your favorite." "Coming, Mom," I called back. I looked at the three people standing on my porch and delivered my final words to them. The people inside this house are my family. Then, I closed the door. The past, and everyone in it, had nothing to do with me anymore. Later that evening, as I was painting in my studio, I overheard my mother-in-law whispering to Julian. "I think the people Chloe doesn't like came by today. Go comfort her, don't let her be upset. If anyone tries to bully her, we'll make them pay." My hand, holding the paintbrush, paused in midair. The tears fell before I could stop them. Julian stepped into the room quietly, and I immediately threw myself into his arms. "Thank you." I heard a soft chuckle from above, and his arms tightened around my waist. He rested his hand gently on my stomach. "I'm the one who should be thanking you. Thank you, Chloe, for giving me, and our baby, a home." He was right. Home. Where Julian was, that was home.